Okay, let's take a look at the troubleshooting of the first trainer here. So what I had going was I wanted to check my voltage. So if I came right here, this is my source right here, and I come up, I don't have any voltage because I don't have it turned on. I'm going to come down to the disconnect and turn on the disconnect right there, and I should have voltage. Okay, 122. So the next thing we wanted to do is we wanted to go to our load here and figure out if the load was getting voltage. And so what I did is I checked these points here when I was clicking when I was clicking the switch off and on, and I wasn't getting any voltage here. And when I would push to test light, I wasn't getting any voltage here. I was not seeing 122. So in this case, I'm going to work forward. Okay, so I come right here. I'm going to see that I have 121 volts. So this fuse just comes around to here. I'm going to check that, and I don't have any voltage, so let's just back that up a minute. I'm going to come here again. There I got 120. I'm going to move this one forward, and I don't have any voltage, and so I'm going to move to here. And so for some reason I am not getting voltage from the fuses to this item right to these contacts here, which are the next items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the power off, and I'm going to pull these fuses out. In order to check these fuses, what I need to do is I'm going to set this to continuity right there. I'm going to check, see I got tone. I do. And I'm going to check the first fuse, and I'm not getting any tone on that. I'm going to check the next fuse, and that fuse is good. So that means that one of these, this one to here, should have brought voltage through, but the other one wasn't. But the bottom line was when I went to these 2 points right here, I didn't have any voltage, and therefore the issue is a bad fuse. So hopefully you were able to figure that one out. Okay, now I'm looking at my next circuit, and what this circuit was, once again, it was just the start, stop, and then the control relay came on and turned the light on. And if I turned on the voltage to my system right here, and I checked it, my light was working, and my relay was working, but there was no memory. There's my push to test work. I'm supposed to have some memory going on here. So I didn't need to check for voltage here because the items are working. They're getting voltage, so it must be a switching issue. And so what I demonstrated was I went to 1 and 3 right here, which is the push button. And so when I went to 1 and I went to 3 right here, I got tone right there. It's toning. When I push the button, the tone goes away. So that's working like it should. That's working like it should. When I went to the second push button, 3 and 4, which was here. Oh, I'm sorry. What I need to do is I need to kill the circuit. My bad. And I'll just go ahead and isolate it. But that normally close was still working 1 and 3 like it should. I had tone there. And when I hit the power, it went off. Tone, no tone. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to my push button here, and I wanted to check 3 and 4 on the push button right there, okay? So if I come to 3 and 4, I don't have anything when I push the button. Yep, I'm getting tone right there. It is toning right there. So that means that's working like it should. And the other thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to come and I wanted to push down on the contactor to see what that did. So here's my 3 and my 4. The contactor should close these contacts here, and I should get a continuous tone because it's basically just an OR. So if I come right here and I push this down, it's just getting 1 beep. And it's showing some resistance, but because these two are just in parallel, either one of these should allow that to go. So 3 and 4 is not working there. What I did is I brought my leads up here to 3 and 4, and so I'm touching on 3 and 4 there. And when I close the contactor there, I'm getting tone. So that's odd. I'm getting tone up here, but if I follow this wire back to here, and I follow this wire back to here, and I do that, I'm not getting tone. I'm getting a little bit of resistance, okay? So that must mean that there's something wrong with the wiring, okay? And so if I look at this a little bit closer, and you wouldn't be able to see this, but you could have identified the problem. Number 4 right here is pinched on insulation. I see the copper here for this number 3, but these copper, but these are pinched on the insulation, and therefore they are not conducting. So the issue that you should have found here was that the auxiliary contacts weren't closing as far as the contact block was concerned. So hopefully you did a good job of figuring that one out. And here is my final circuit here. And what I've got going is this circuit right here, which is the 2 push button, either jog or run. Okay, and so what we had going here, I'm going to bring on the power real quick. And what was happening when I went to the run mode, the contactor's coming on, but there's no memory. And when I went to the jog, I got the machine gun thing going. Okay, and so the way that we troubleshoot this is to realize that these are getting voltage, so I don't need to go and troubleshoot for voltage. I'm going to look and find out what's wrong with my contacts, okay? So I'm going to shut the power off, and I'm going to pull the fuses so that I've isolated the circuit again, okay? So I'm going to use continuity, and just like we did before, I'll demonstrate that the stop button here is 1 and 3. So when I go to 1 and 3 on that, I should get continuity. So here's 1 and here's 3. I do have tone right there. It's toning, and if I come here and push the push button, the tone goes off. Okay, that's great. I'm going to go to 3 and 4, which is the run button, and I'm assuming that this is going to work because we were getting run. So right there, I have no tone. When I push the run button, I'm getting tone. Okay, so that's working well. My jog button was 3 and 5. So if I go to just slide over here and I go to 3 and I go to 5, I don't have anything. When I go and I push the button, I'm getting tone right there. I can hear the meter toning. So those are all working good, which they seem to be working because we were getting something. It's something to do with these contacts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are the open contacts. So here's 4 and 5 right here. And I'm getting tone right now. It is toning right now. So 4 and 5 are open, but right now I'm getting tone. So what's happening is that these must be wired normally closed. So if I were to come to my control relay, I'm guessing that this should cause that to go off. It's not. So there's something messed up in the way that these are wired. Okay, so if I were to come up here to my control relay right here and touch it, I'm getting tone. It seems like these contacts here are fused on. Okay, so but the bottom line, when you were troubleshooting, you could have figured out that, hey, this is supposed to be open, but when I touch 4 and 5, it's beeping, which means that that is messed up. And so that is an issue there, okay? I'm going to go down to these next ones right here. So this control relay we said was 3 and 6. So the other set of contacts were 3 and 6. So let me find those real quick. Here's a 6 here, and I'm touching a 3, okay? And I'm not getting any tone, but I'm going to go ahead and push the relay. Now that I think this should cause it to tone. 6 and 3. So that's not toning. So this 6 and this 3 should get toned when I push that. So that's not working. That's not working very well either. Let me try a different 6 right here and a 3, and let me push that down. So that's not doing it. So this 6 and this 3 aren't doing anything. They're supposed to get toned. So if I came right up here and I did touch right on this 6 and this right here on this 3, and I push down on the contactor, they're beeping. That's beeping. So there's something wrong with the way that the wires are run into the wire harness here. If you looked along here again, it's likely that you would find that, yeah, maybe one of these is wired incorrectly, or maybe it's pinching on insulation instead of pinching on the wire. But what you would have been able to determine is that the control relay, this contact here, wasn't toning like it should have on the contact block. And then finally, let's just check for the heck of it, the 1M contact should be open, and that is 6 and 5. So if I went to 6 and 5, here's a 5, and here's a 6. There's no tone because it's not on, so that's fine. But when I shut it, that is not working either, okay? And so what is the issue with that? Well, you can see that this is fallen out right here. So this was just kind of loosely stuck in there, but that it's broken and it's fragile, and that is not toning right there because the wiring is bad. If I were to have checked right here on the relay or on the 1M itself, if I'm checking these and I push down on this, oops, this should work like it should. Hang on. Oh, it's hard to do. That's toning. Okay, so it was because we had a bad wire right there. So on your troubleshooting, you could have identified that when we activated the contactor, we were not getting the tone there. So that was a little more difficult. Hopefully you were able to look at those contacts as we worked our way here and pushed it and physically pushed the contactor and determined, hey, was 4 and 5 toning here? Was 4 and 5 toning here? They should tone in the same locations, and if not one, there's a bad wire connection, and the other, there's a bad component. So a combination of both here. So hopefully that all made sense to you.